Hey there, welcome back to Nautophilia, day 13 of the Pac Cup. Still moving forward to Kaneohe, Hawaii. We had to take a jibe this morning because the winds have been shifting all night long and we are getting further and further too far to the south and east. So they wanted to start going away from our destination, so we jibed, and that actually brought us into a much better position to swell. So we're sailing this afternoon on a single reef on the main, single reef on the mizzen, and partially reefed jib, and we are making good time, 6-7 knots, and we are handling the swell much better, more in our stern quarters, and yeah, the water's beautiful, sky's beautiful, no squalls last night, really nice. Happy to not have to deal with that, and I feel like the sea is slowing down a bit from all the previous before. So as you can see behind me, weather's looking beautiful, on our way to Kaneohe. Be back in with you later. All right, it's day 13 of the Pac Cup. Lucky day 13. We have 2 fishing lines. We've been dragging behind the boat for 6-7 days now.
900 miles.
Why haven't we caught a fish yet?
I don't think they like us.
Yeah, they lied. There's not plenty of fish in the sea.
I have been told that there are albacore all over out here. What are we doing wrong?
I don't know, man, but the brochure you gave me, you said to be fishing, you said it'd be really warm. I'm just thinking the brochure you're handing to me is not exactly accurate.
You're a lawyer, John. You should know better than to trust the brochure.
This is I'll probably give it a 3 on Yelp review.
I would say you're right. And the sea gets a 3 on Yelp. That's all I got to say.
Oh my
Me
God.
and Steve and I talked about that. 3 for you. 3.
So yes, this is what I have to deal with throughout the entire backup, is these guys and this kind of stuff. And this is the better part of it. You should see it when the humor gets really bad. But the sea's looking good today. We're sailing, we jived this morning. We're on a good tack, making good time. Head to Kaneohe, and we'll check in with you later. Hawaii is up there somewhere, straight ahead. We're gonna find it. Sooner or later, we're gonna get there. All right, tonight's post-dinner conversation topic is wind. It's been very different here than generally in the bay. In the bay, we generally have sundown, wind down, because there's a lot of land effect on the winds we have here. And it's been really strange being out here in the open ocean. We all have the same watch schedule, we'll same watches every day, so we've gotten to know our slots pretty well. And for me, the 4 to 8 watch can be a little discouraging because rather than build in the afternoon as the winds do in the bay, they actually generally die from 4 to 8. And so I'm always stressed out not making enough miles from 4 to 8 as the wind gradually dies. And then John here gets on watch and things I think tend to pick up. What's been your experience with winds?
Yeah, pretty much. What was it? Last night or night before, I counted a squall every 45 minutes, lasting up to 15 minutes, with gusts up to 22. That's fun.
And then what about in the morning when you first take over from 8 to noon?
8 to noon, it calms down, but I still got. It's not. I haven't got a. I think I got 1 squall. Squalls come in at night for whatever reason.
But I got the 6 to 8 watch, and things things always die during that watch. And then John comes on board, and
2 to 4.
I always must like him.
4.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a learning experience to understand the winds in the open ocean versus what we have with land effect winds in the bay. And hopefully we'll be able to manage them and keep moving forward. All right, so getting up to the end of day 13 here at the Pac Cup. Not a lot of excitement today, which I'm kind of grateful for. As I mentioned earlier, we jibed this morning, and we're now on a course of about 250. We've been on this course pretty much all day. We'll probably stay on it through the night. Wind's hold, we'll stay on it most of the day tomorrow. We did shake the reef out of the main, and we took down the jib, got the stay up. So pretty standard sailing configuration. There's still a lot of swell coming from somewhere. Must be a storm or something to the north of here, because the squalls we've had will not generate that size swell. The season's settled a lot between the swell, but every now and then we get hit by 3 big swell, a little too much to risk having the spinnaker up when that happens. So still hoping that that calms down around and get the spinnaker up, because that really makes a better time. Winds are kind of light. We're only making about 5.5, 6 knots. We'd like to get there a little sooner, but we keep things moving forward. Other than that, still haven't caught a fish. Would love to, but we've been seeing a lot of plastic and debris out here. It's kind of sad. As an environmental scientist, that kind of breaks my heart. Hopefully we'll see less and less of that as the future goes on. People get a little more responsible about plastics that they're disposing of or washing off of boats and docks and such. I want to call out a friend of mine that corrected my pronunciation of Kanaowi. I'm going to mispronounce it again. Kanaowi? Anyway, my apologies to the entire Polynesian people that I don't speak very well. But we're headed there, and I'll try and pronounce it better as these days go on. In the meantime, hope you all have a good evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and